Today I'd like to talk to you guys about Crosscode. This game has blown me away. It is seriously a super impressive indie-developed action RPG in a 16-bit style that is exactly the kind of game that I am looking for at this point in my life. It actually started as an early access game on Steam back in 2015, but it was just introduced to me a couple of weeks ago, and I finally got around to playing it yesterday, and holy crap is it good. The art and presentation alone are reasons to check this game out, especially if you grew up playing games on the Super Nintendo. It's just amazing. It takes this really charming 2D aesthetic, but sort of pairs that with all of these modern effects that really make it pop. And this is true with just about everything. I mean, it takes a lot of design philosophy from that time period and then just updates it with a lot of things that we would expect from modern RPGs in terms of like questing systems and UI interfaces and that sort of thing. The battle system is really simple, but actually a lot of fun. You have melee attacks tied to the right bumper button, and by using the right stick you can sort of aim and shoot with the right bumper button as well. So you kind of have this mix between close range melee attacks and then ranged attacks as well. And depending on the situation, the kind of enemies you're fighting, etc., you're going to have to be switching constantly between those two modes of fighting. All of this feels really good, the controls are super tight and responsive, and it's just a lot of fun in practice. There are also some really cool puzzle-solving elements. I've only played the very beginning of the game, so it's all been fairly simple to figure out, but I can see a lot of potential here for making it really interesting down the line. So I've been playing the demo, which again is available on either Steam or directly from Radical Fish's website, and I was really surprised by how much content was inside of that demo. You can play this for hours, and there are tons of features open for you in that demo as well. Once you get through the early stages of the game and it opens up a little bit, you'll be able to recruit party members. You have hunts that you can go on and tons of side quests that you can pick up from people. All of this you can track in the menu and sort of select the side quests that you are most interested in tracking at that moment, which will appear at the top right of the screen. You know, it's the kind of thing that you expect from a modern RPG, but it's packaged with this really cool 16-bit style game, and it's just awesome. It's just, everything is so well put together and feels so good and so intuitive, and it's just really impressive to me. It's also got a really promising character progression system where you unlock abilities, upgrades to defense and attack and HP and all that sort of thing that branch out in different directions, which you sort of unlock one node at a time with CP points. I ended up unlocking this ability where you can sort of dash through enemies and do damage to them while you're doing that, and it has this really cool sort of like slow motion zoom in effect that it does. I'm telling you, the presentation sort of paired with all of these things that we expect from modern RPGs gives us this just extremely polished, very satisfying package overall. The story puts you in the shoes of Leah, who's sort of trapped inside of an MMORPG. And I know that there are other stories out there, anime and that sort of thing, that people are sort of divisive on, but the story here is really well presented. I actually really like it a lot so far. It's witty, it's fun, and it's really interesting. There are definitely some interesting mysteries that I'm excited to learn more about. Another thing that was really impressive about it is that it seems to have been tested enough to where the difficulty sort of like rises at exactly the right pace. So you start the game out, you don't feel overwhelmed, but you know, the challenge sort of builds as you're going through. And it teaches you to become skilled at the game, which is something I really like about action RPGs, more so than maybe traditional RPGs, is that there's sort of a necessary mandated baseline for the player to develop skill playing the game. And in this case, that's definitely true as well. One of my favorite games from last year was Hyper Light Drifter, and that, as well as this game, fall into sort of the same genre or category. These sprite-based, old-school inspired games that are actually really well modernized, that have taken the aesthetic of sprite-based work to a totally new level, but that also offer some actually challenging gameplay. And there's a lot of potential for that here, a ton of potential for that, and I'm really excited about what I've played so far. One thing that tripped me up a bit though was that apparently there was this April Fool's joke, an update they released a couple months back in April, where they put in this really obnoxious voice acting. You can turn it off from the menu. It took me a little while to figure out that on the first page when you open up the menu you can scroll down further than what you can see and you can turn the voice acting off. It's really super obnoxious, but I didn't realize that this was an April Fool's joke, right? So as soon as you boot up the game, make sure you turn that off. It's trust me, it's much better without it.
You know. Good job. You know. Good job.
Other than that though, if you're like me and you grew up in the era of 2D games, and especially 2D RPGs on the Super Nintendo, I think this is a game you're really going to want to keep your eye on, and you can download the demo for free. Again, either through Steam or through Radical Fish's website directly, and I would really love to hear some of your guys' thoughts on the game so far. It's already been delayed a couple of times as these guys are working really hard to build a really amazing, complete experience. Right now, the release schedule has been pushed back to early 2018, but you never know with indie-developed games like this. They often end up underestimating how much work it's really going to be, and I think these guys have figured that out if you look at their updates. But it looks like a large percentage of the game is actually completed, and the early 2018 release might not be too much of an overestimation. In any case, keep your eye on it, download the demo and try it out. This is really the kind of game that I am interested in playing in this day and age. These guys know what they're doing, they're building something really special, and I just wanted to give it some exposure because I think it's awesome, and I really wanted to share it with you guys. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we will see you again on Wednesday for our podcast. Have a nice day.